Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is Johnboy. I am your host, John Francis Fahey. Joining me, as ever, Michael Skeeton. Fred Thirst.
Fred Thirst?
Yeah.
Like Durst?
That's that was from Morgan the Woman, respectively. And
I like Michael Skeeton.
Michael Skeeton. You like that?
I'm Scatman.
Scatman, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
I am Scatman.
Shit, I'm
the jerker.
What?
To my right, John's left.
Handsome Matt Brousseau, Cape God, Gape God.
Hello. Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you. Oh.
Good.
Yeah, thanks.
That's true.
I do have to give credit before we move on because it's not fair because Michael Skeeton is very good. Jason Bartlett.
Thank you, Jason.
Well done, Jason.
Yes, good job.
Solid.
Well done.
Well done.
Folks, we are clearing up the shirts.
Clear him.
Buy him.
There's I think they're maybe even down to $10 now just to
Jesus Christ.
clear them out so we can start with new designs. Head over to the Etsy shop. Head over, of course, to Patreon, where we had a banger of an episode last time.
Real fun.
Real fun.
Mr. Young Brad Moyer, he bought a shirt last time.
Hey, thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Not bad.
Way to go, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Wear it. Wear it.
Wear it with pride.
Yeah, or, you know.
Yeah, or whatever.
Wear it to pride.
Yeah, wear it to pride.
Wear it for pride.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
1-800-GAY dude, speaking of, we should probably make a shirt.
Oh, that's a good one.
Dad, it's for you, dude. I don't know what this guy's talking about, but it's definitely for you, Dad.
Who's dad?
Everyone's dad is gay.
Everyone's dad is gay.
Yeah. Father's Day. Get him one for Father's Day.
Father's Day.
Yeah.
Father's gay.
This father's gay.
Of course, Patreon, extra episode per week, $5 a month. Get involved. But fellas, I think we might be launching into a two-part episode.
Did you say butt fellas?
Butt fellas.
Nice.
I'm a butt fella.
Yeah. Broad strokes right there.
I wonder if there was a like early 90s gay porn called Good Fellas.
Italians eat ass.
Good.
Fellas.
All right, fellas. So let's start with what do you guys know about the very famous actor Robert Blake?
Oh.
He practiced what he acted.
Well,
As
he
I
was
preached.
he was a little rascal.
He was.
He was a little rascal.
And then he was a big rascal.
Yeah, he grew up to be a big rascal.
You could say. Beretta,
That's the big one.
iconic role. He was perhaps lauded most as an actor for his portrayal in Cold Blood, where he's one of the murderers, of course, in the famous Truman Capote retelling of that story, which is absolutely horrifying. Just a whole family slaughtered at fucking town in the middle of the country. He had some kind of serious roles. Ebert specifically, I think, was like electrified by his performance in Cold Blood.
Oh.
And he was raised by a guy that wanted to be an actor. They moved out here for that reason, and they wanted his older brother to be an actor. And I think he was just like on set and ended up being an extra. And then they found out he could cry on cue, and that was because he was like kind of horribly abused. Like locked in closets a lot. The dad was just fucking
Maniac.
a total maniac. The mom was, just completely frozen, just not much better at all. And so he was really tight with buckwheat.
Yeah.
And he was like, he said one time I could write a whole book just on him. He was like my closest friend. And he was like, the whole Little Rascals could be volumes. And he's like, and then my life, on and on and on. But so, after he's kind of out of that and he's aging out of being a cute kid, then he ends up in the service, right? And he's got some stuff where, he's like, he ends up like pointing a bayonet at some of the fellow soldiers at one point, getting a little crazy. And when he gets out of the service, he becomes a pretty bad heroin addict.
Shit.
Yeah.
Where did he serve? Like, what time period was this? Would it be Korea or something like that?
No, I don't think there was any
Action.
I don't think there was any action.
Yes. Wait. Okay. So, are you giving us the broad strokes?
Yeah, these are the broad strokes.
Okay. Because I want to. I obviously I know of the Little Rascals. I've seen them. I don't know when that was.
Oh,
really? I can have a guess. The 30s?
No,
40s.
It would have been. Well, he was in Cold Blood was 1967. He was born 33.
Okay.
And that was 39 to 44. So basically the exact World War II time.
Gotcha. Okay.
Is when that was going on, and I think it was it was kind of born out of like Depression era stuff, and
The Rascals?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Those were not rich kids.
Yeah, he didn't serve like overseas. And he let's see here. Actually, maybe he did. Shit.
So 33.
Our Gang was the first like short series, and
Okay,
that evolved into Little Rascals.
Yeah.
And he was in fucking 40 of those. And then he was eventually the lead character.
And which character did he play?
He wasn't
Alfalfa.
I think he was Poe. He was Rinky.
So his real name also was Gubitosi.
Oh,
Mickey Gubitosi is his real name.
Mickey Gubitosi.
Yeah, MGM gave him the name.
Robert Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, kid, you're more of a Blake.
And his character was named Mickey.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the thing.
Okay.
So then so he's an Italian kid, right? From New Jersey. And they moved out here because the dad wanted to act, and it turns out, he got it. He would get the parents in as extras, even though they were horrible wretches. And he really he really liked going to MGM, which is like down the street from where he lived, because he was just like, it's so much better than my house,
right? And
adults like me and respect me. And so he was doing. Then he was at CBS Radford. Playing Little Beaver, a Native American in the Red Ryder Western series. He was in 23 of those until 47.
Wow.
He was in one Laurel and Hardy film, The Big Noise. Treasure of the Sierra Madre. He played a Mexican boy who sells Humphrey Bogart a winning lottery ticket. And he was an Arab boy named Mahmoud in The Black Rose, where he worked with one Orson Welles.
Ah, yes.
So yeah, he was in the army. No action. He was drafted, but it was 1950, so there was nothing, And he then he was without a job, and then he went deep on the coke and the heroin,
smack,
and so then he just kind of like started getting his shit together, and he was like, I still want to act, and he went to a really good acting coach, Jeff Corey, and he started getting dramatic roles, and 1956, he's kind of back, and then he was on Bonanza, and.
What did he play? He played an Arab guy?
Yeah, an Arab guy in the Old West.
Yeah.
It was Joe Cartwright, so I don't think so.
Joe Cartwright.
And then he was on Have Gun Will Travel. He was on The Restless Gun. He was on another Western called The Rebel. This is very much that era that you can kind of see that they're talking about in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, of which the novel is dedicated to Robert Blake. He was... an episode of Bat Masterson, The Californians.
The Californians.
Which was another Western series. And Laramie, he was in that. And then he was in The Purple Gang, he was which is a gangster movie. He was in Pork Chop Hill, Town Without Pity, Familiar with that?
I'm just familiar with No Pity.
Pork Chop Hill
Mr. T from
was U.S. soldiers in Germany thing, and I've heard Town Without Pity. He was in a JFK war biopic as a character named Bucky Harris.
Well, he didn't save anybody then.
He was in The Greatest Story Ever Told. Let's see, and then he did it in Cold Blood. And he played the real murderer, Perry Smith. That is, the book really centers on. He's kind of the one that doesn't talk until the very end of In Cold Blood to Truman Capote, and then he spills everything. And meanwhile, Truman Capote is like borderline falling in love with the fucking guy, But it's heart-wrenching, brutal. He just fucking amazed everybody in this thing. But he wasn't nominated. And I think, he was kind of an outsider before, during, and after is the way he always looked at it. And then he kind of brought that energy when he started doing his Johnny Carson appearances.
Why did he think of himself as an outsider, a guy who had been in all of these Westerns, had been in The Little Rascals? It seems like...
I guess maybe not wide enough, and then he was, a really abused, then former junkie, and he was...
He grew up in a closet.
Yeah. Kind of, well, that's more of an insider, but yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's outside the common area.
Yeah. So he starts, What is let's see. So In Cold Blood is 1967, and then it just kind of, starts petering out. Like, he's still doing roles. He's more respected than ever, but like, it's just not adding up.
Yeah, and he's in his mid-30s now. He's running out of time to become like the guy, maybe.
Yeah, and then he does this thing where he ends up taking Beretta. Because they've seen him be this kind of menacing tough guy too.
Yeah.
So now he's also kind of made this sort of thing. He's been the heavy in a lot of these shows, right? Which again you can see in Once Upon a Time. And he really doesn't, you look back on it, but also again, nobody made you do it, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, you'll hear him bitching about all this shit, and you're just like, what? You're fine. Actor.
Your household name.
Yeah.
Before you were...
And people like him. Like, do you remember anything about Beretta?
No, I don't.
He's got a fucking cockatoo on his shoulder. And he's like, he's like a tough cop. And that's where don't do the crime if you can't do the time comes from.
Does he say that a lot?
Yeah. It's like the catchphrase of the
bird
show.
goes, squawk. Yeah.
Down to time.
Told you so.
So he's like a hard-scrabble detective, tough guy, beat him up sort of thing?
Yes. He's plain clothes. The fucking bird is named Fred. Thirst. And he would also say you can take that to the bank a lot, and he'd also say that's the name of that tune.
Well, like
that's the name of that tune, pal.
Yeah, he knocks someone out, and he goes, that's the name of that tune. You
Pistol whip somebody.
Hear the birds singing around your head.
Yeah.
I named that tune back then, yeah. Must have. Because they didn't have the internet.
No Shazam.
He also did another murderer role in Judgment Day in 1993, the John List story, where he plays John List. And, he was fucking just doing shit, I guess, I think the last thing he did was Lost Highway, which is what got me interested in it.
Right, that's my only pop culture knowledge of him, other than him being a murderer, is I've seen like that scene in Lost Highway. I've never seen an episode of Beretta.
Which also remains one of David Lynch's most haunting things ever. So basically, what that's supposed to be in that movie is it's supposed to be a manifestation of the main character's bad decisions in like a physical form. And it came about because David Lynch was saying, I was obsessed with the murder trial of O.J. Simpson, and he never says background on his movies. And he's like, and I just was like, how can he be out golfing and he's smiling so much at the trial? And he's like, And he goes, he must have some, what he called a psychogenic fugue. And just like a dissociative thing where he's just decided I didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, somebody else did that.
Yeah.
And so that's why the murderer in Lost Highway changes into another person. And then it all comes together in this crazy, weird way that, you know, is very, very hard to explain.
Well, it's interesting because Lynch kind of does that in Twin Peaks. That's before the OJ trial.
In what way do you mean?
Well, in Bob, you know, the dad.
Yeah, that's kind of true too. Yeah. And it happens basically in Mulholland Drive as well, which you can see the through line to Inland Empire and in Mulholland Drive. And in Inland Empire, they make mention of like, there's like a movie within the movie. And in that, they talk about it being cursed, that fictional movie. But people think it might be David Lynch talking about Lost Highway because it was Richard Pryor's last movie.
Fuck.
It was his friend Jack Nance's last movie. One of the guys that plays a detective ended up getting found guilty of several murders for the Gambino crime family. Real New York detective, profile in itself. Jack Nance was killed outside of Winchell's here, unintentionally probably. It was one of those things where he got probably was drunk, talked some shit to some kids. They might have been tough. They hit him. He fell on the ground and then he fell asleep twice and didn't wake up.
Oh,
Jesus.
God.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of fucking death associated, and Robert Blake, it just so happens, plays like the most evil man in the world in it. And then becomes the second most high profile killer in LA history.
You mean like murderer, not serial killer?
Murderer. Yeah.
Number one's OJ?
Number one's got to be OJ. And the trial that would happen later, it would be the most expensive one in history because the LAPD was in so much of a rush to look better after OJ that it was just, astounding amounts of money. Yeah. But so yeah, he's he had a family in the meantime too, and he was like doing Beretta and stuff, and they grew up. He's divorced. He's living a single life. He's chill though. You know what I mean? He's like out in the valley, he's got some money, and some residuals are coming in. You know what I mean?
Little Rascals reboot.
Yeah. Big Rascals.
1999. So Lost Highway is only 2 years old, and again, it's another thing where it's like he thought it would kind of like give him some zhuzh in the old career again, but it doesn't really happen. And it's especially, kind of interesting too because it is such a notable scene and the makeup is so crazy and everything. It really was so impactful.
Yeah, he's real creepy in that.
And then he meets this woman, Bonnie Lee Bakley. And I'm going to take a quick break just because I want to get her stats up because her story is completely insane.
Bonnie?
Yeah. So we'll be right back. And we're back. Bonnie Lee Bakley. She would end up being the second wife of Robert Blake. But she would have 9 previous husbands.
Huh.
Yes.
Well, that's got to be a fun time.
Yes. Quite. So we said he was born in 33, I believe. She was born in 56.
All right.
Spring chicken.
So what? She had 40 years to have 9 husbands? It's pretty good. Well, I guess she probably wasn't getting married until she was,
15.
Yeah. Okay, so she had 25 years to...
She was also born in New Jersey.
Hey.
Her father was an arborist.
Cool.
Her mom...
He was Garden State, after all.
Her mother, Marjorie, was another awfully mean person, and they were always fighting. They were incredibly poor. When they used to fight, Bonnie would pass out. She would faint. In 63, their parents split. They never saw the dad again, but he did molest Bonnie, according to her sister, Marjorie.
Oh, boy.
And Bonnie's mom, she borrowed money from her mother. And So the grandmother was like, okay, but you got to give me Bonnie
As collateral.
as collateral.
Oh, okay.
And
Make sure someone raises this kid.
Is that a better situation for Bonnie? Or worse?
it would be, yeah.
Good, okay.
But not by much.
Mm-hmm.
The dad died in the drunk tank in Morristown.
That's not one of those tanks you fall into.
No.
That's jail.
Yeah.
And so the grandmother, she was so cheap that she didn't believe in wasting water, so she wasn't allowed to bathe very often. So she was made fun of in school because she had like gross hair and she had really shitty hand-me-down clothes. And she was really made fun of. And so she would just like be watching like American Bandstand and kind of like dreaming about all these people. And she wanted to be famous, and she wanted to show everybody that made fun of her that she'll be a star. And so then she started getting her shape and looks.
Oh, okay.
And she realized this can make some things happen. So she used to go to a nudist colony near the trailer park where she lived.
Oh.
That is one hell of a sentence.
Yeah.
Especially because she lived in the trailer park with her grandmother.
Yeah. Well, you might as well go to the one closest.
Who
to
wouldn't spring for water?
Well,
you know how expensive water is.
Hey, well, you can clean up at the beach at least.
And then she began entering nudist beauty pageants. I did not know that existed.
I didn't know that existed either.
At the age of 17, Matt,
Oh no.
she began offering herself as a model for nude pictures and classifieds.
Okay.
And this would later become a mail order phone sex business that would leave her. She left
Mail order phone sex?
mail order and phone sex.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, please send away box tops for a phone call you will receive. I'm naked.
And it was so successful, she ended up bringing in family members.
Into the phone or the...
Yeah, it was
Into
just
all of
it was just like, hey man, here's a naked picture of me. I'm lonely and I'm single.
Yeah.
Can send me some money?
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
money fucking came in from all over the goddamn country. Like
Hey, man, that still works. Good move.
So it's like OnlyFans.
But by mail.
By mail.
Yeah. And you know, it'd be like, hey, are you able to travel? I am, but my car's in the shop, so can you get me,
Oh.
And then oftentimes, of course, she would never ever see these guys. But she did keep like meticulous records on everybody. So it's like, oh, this guy's a lawyer. This guy comes from money. This guy doesn't have much.
That's a good idea.
What pseudonyms she used with each of them. So she
That's
had
a
like
very good
files, and then the people, like in the family, even people she married would be like mailing out shit. She was making so much money from this. She married her cousin.
Was he hot?
She made so much money she married her cousin.
But he was a stay-at-home dad because she was making so much money.
Cool.
So the first guy she married was because he wanted a green card, and
Nice, dude.
his name was Evangelos Paulikis, and he was beating her, so she had him deported.
Oh, man, good for her.
Yeah.
Send him back. We had to grease or some shit.
Yeah, he's not ready yet. And then, so, she would have some guys like sign over like their life insurance, have like things left in their wills to her.
Nice.
And the legality of the marriages, maybe not, because she was probably married to several people at several times. She one time was found with like 7 driver's license and 5 social security cards.
Oh my God.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who am I today?
One time she married some guy in Port Charlotte in just north of Fort Myers in Florida. Some guy that was 80, and
Cool.
they went to some casino or whatever, and she just like was like, yeah, I'll meet you in the suite, and then she went to the bank and withdrew $350,000.
Nice.
And she had other things where she wrote a bad check for like $600,000 at one point. When she would ultimately leave her estate to her family, it included property in Southern California and $500,000.
Nice.
So she was not fucking bad at what she did.
No,
Really?
sounds quite good.
She's good at getting married too.
Yeah, that can be tough sometimes.
And also like in these mail order things, it was like she really read into like the guy's personality. Would take a bunch of hot Polaroids and then like specifically pick out the exact right one
For his personality.
You know what I mean?
Very nice. Very good.
And so she had a bunch of kids with her cousin, of course.
Well, how could you not?
And so that was like her only real family. Her husband and cousin Paul Gowron, And she because at first it was music stuff, right? American Bandstand. She saw Frankie Valli and she was like, fucking, that's it. That's the guy. And he had like one specific song, I can't remember it, but it's about like a poor girl, that's like he falls in love with. And she's like, oh, that's fucking about me, dude. The song's about me.
Meanwhile,
I'm made for this.
the Big Bopper's just telling her to twist or some shit.
Yeah, he's just talking about phones.
Yeah.
Hello? 1-800-GAY?
I did what?
It's Big Bopper speaking.
So yeah, she's like, she's getting into some modeling stuff. So she still keeps going with all this shit. She's making so much money. And, she did have like her kids kind of around when she was doing this stuff because like it was the family business. And, Paul said he didn't really like them, seeing that sort of stuff, but she was just kind of like, well, it is what it is. We're selling dreams here.
Yeah.
The
way I put food on the table lets you stay at home, be a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
/ cousin.
So she followed Valli around the country for 20 years. Same hotels, waiting outside his dressing room. She would do film extra stuff and modeling in New York and California under the name Lee Bonnie. And she was like, oh, this fucking movie star thing is kind of hard. So then she's like, I'm just going to, try to marry one. And so she went after Dean Martin, Gary Busey, also in Lost Highway.
It is cursed.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Okay.
Well, the cousin thing's very relatable, yeah.
She actually did think that marrying her cousin would be a good talking point with Jerry Lee Lewis.
She's right.
She's bright. Yeah. Cousins, am I right?
So that was so that's kind of the thing is that like she's got PO boxes and all this stuff stashed around the country to do all this fraudulent shit. And so it's basically like, all right, Paul, you got the kids back here, in the South in like Memphis area. And I'm going to be going around getting the letters. Sometimes it's straight cash in there. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Checks. And then also, maybe I stay at this hotel because I know there's one movie star staying there.
Maybe. Who's to say?
And she's just so driven by that. Wow. To the point where the fame means way more than the money.
Yeah.
Because obviously she can get money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, she's in. I mean, the money is the thing allowing her to keep trying for the fame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's, well, first of all, you're dirt poor, right? And then you're very much into, once you figure it out, you're like, let's fucking go here.
Sure. Yeah.
So her ethic is on point, but the fame is something that like is like in like the dreamscape.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Right. So that really means way more to her. So
yeah, that makes sense.
So she was stalking Jerry Lee Lewis. She even became friends with his sisters.
Wow. So close. Just so close to the right person in his family.
So, Marlon Brando's son, Christian, she was also seeing him.
Cool.
The one that did Man's Laughter.
Oh, I don't know that. What?
I don't know what that is.
Manslaughter.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So she's making a lot of interesting choices for the famous person.
The danger is definitely there.
Yeah.
She's like, because she thinks like, oh, the fucked up ones are the ones that'll get me.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Or the ones that I'll get them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she probably has some experience with like, with the catalog stuff and the mail-in stuff. She's probably dealt with a lot of like weird guys. Probably feels like, hey, I've handled myself.
That side of it, dude, I gotta say, I really do. I really do admire to a certain extent because it's the profiling that went into it and her meticulous detailing of what sexual stuff they like.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I've got them on the hook.
Yeah.
Don't lose it by being sloppy.
Right.
And then you just like and then you put that into the larger database that's in your mind and you're just going like, now you just have like this thing about general men stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
So key things that are basically probably going to work every time. It's like, I don't know, fucking doing probabilities in poker or something,
Yeah.
I don't know how well, I think Jerry Lee Lewis was married or whatever, but
Certainly was.
in 93, her sister said, I don't know how she ended up hooking up with Christian Brando, but she did it. Now, Christian Brando had already served time for manslaughter for killing the guy that was hitting his sister. His sister Cheyenne. And he had died in 91. And so in 93, she gives birth to a daughter she names Jerry Lee Lewis.
Okay, see, now the issues are starting to mount up here.
And Jerry Lee Lewis is like, nah, I wasn't even in the country.
Did she name it Junior, at least, to try to trick him?
He's like, the sister said, the Lewis's sister Linda said, I don't know if there was DNA, but I think there was some settlement. And and then Jerry Lee Lewis said to the press, he's like, I do hope the child who has my name and has been told I am her father learns that I am not her father and that I am very sorry she has to suffer this lie. I have always taken care of my children and have never denied any of my children. I have lost 2 sons already. The lives of my children are very dear and precious to me. She goes back to Paul, her fucking cousin husband.
He's still at home.
And gives the baby to him. And she also...
Well, he's at home, you know?
Yeah, and she supports everything financially. Later, the cousin said, I don't know for sure if any of these kids are biologically mine.
I've been stuck in the dryer the whole time.
Yeah. And yeah, this dude was just like, it was like, she came home in a day with what I made in a week. There was no question that, you know.
Got it, Chief. You're the boss.
But yeah, so, she, you know, then she ends up running into Robert Blake at a jazz club. And
cool.
she kind of had an arrangement with like an older guy that she was to look like arm candy. And then she would get access.
Smart.
Right. And so then she just sees somebody holding court, doesn't know who it is. And then I think, you know, she's like, I had sex with this guy last night. She tells her sister everything right away, Marjorie. Okay. And she's like, she figures out some stuff about him, some details, and I think she finds a picture somewhere, and she's like, do you know this guy? And she's like, Beretta? She's like, you fucked Beretta? And so, yeah, she goes up to him, and she's like, do you work out? And he's like, oh, every day at sunrise, you know, blah, 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 dude. And then he's like flexing and shit.
He's got a parrot on his shoulder.
Is he a small guy?
Yeah, he wouldn't be a big guy. Yeah. And so
Do you work out?
Yeah. Go every day at sunrise.
And yeah, so they ended up fucking in his car.
Cool.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Was it probably a
Nice
short car?
And so like he'd be like 67 and she's 42.
Whoa. Hey, I mean, hey, that's, you know.
Yeah, those are numbers.
Yeah.
So he's like feeling kind of good about it. You know what I mean?
I bet he is.
And you know, he's just out cruising, listening to jazz, and he's just like, man, fucking goddamn, Robert Blake rules, you know?
Fucking Beretta, man.
Dick soaking wet. And then he was like, we should exchange information or whatever, you know. And I think she was fucking working out of Arkansas at this time and like flying back and forth to LA. And she just waited for the call. She's like, you know, movie stars should call you for sure. And about a week later, he called. And like on fucking Front Street, she's like, hey, just so you know, I kind of run like a sex business kind of thing, you know?
He loves it.
And he's like, oh, sex business, huh? He's like, yeah. She's like, actually, my whole family's on the wrong side of the law. And he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, I know a few people doing time in Sing Sing. So, you know what I mean? He's like...
She's appealing to that edge.
Yeah.
You know,
once again, reading the personality, right?
Yeah, and the bad boy. Because, like, as soon as she finds out who she is from her sister, too, like, she goes to Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And she's like, give me all the shit.
Give me all the little rascals.
And so she sees, that it's, like, the bad guy persona, which obviously these jerk-offs start believing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of tough guy talk on set, I'm sure, you know. And so, you know, he's sort of intrigued, but he's very much like, dude, it's super casual. And, you know, they have some kind of arrangement where they're going to, you know, see each other when it's convenient. But meanwhile, she's fucking banging Christian Brando over here. And but Blake is like meticulous about like checking before they fuck if she's taking birth control that day.
Oh, wow.
Like in like the day pill thing or whatever.
The little circle
Yeah.
thing.
And she has been, but they're fertility pills.
Oh.
Oh boy.
And dude, she's fucking doing headstands to fucking get
the sperms going.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
doing those things that Maud Lebowski does.
Yeah.
Increases the chances of conception.
Yeah. And she's telling her sister everything.
Oh, God.
And she's still got all of her other scams going. And she's she's like, oh, fucking, I'm pregnant or whatever. Tells both of them, of course, that it's theirs.
Oh,
Christian Brando and I think Christian Brando is kind of psyched.
Cool.
Because I think it's going to give him a little bit more credibility, maybe with his dad or something, because he's been like a big fuck up. A lot of drug problems, stuff like that. And Blake is just like fucking irate. He's fucking flipping out.
Yeah.
And because he's like, you fucking promised me, and because then she's like, she won't have an abortion either.
Right.
And he's
This is
like,
her ticket.
you promised if anything happened, you would do this.
I lied.
And he's kind of getting like the thing now too, where it's like, I've been hustled,
Yeah.
and I'm supposed to be the street guy,
Yeah.
and that's really extra sticking in his craw. Eventually, she's gotta. I think she has the kid. He's pushed her away. He's like, get the fuck out of here, whatever. Don't want anything to do with you. And when she finally has the kid, they're like, who's the father? She goes, leave that blank.
Could be anybody. I'll add it in later.
She named the baby Christian Brando, of course, just like Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh, my God. That's part of her like meticulous note keeping.
Yeah.
Like which one of these kids is whose?
Yeah.
Got it.
It's written on. It's almost written on their face.
Yeah. So what he said when she was pregnant, this is the exact quote. And because she also, of course, taped all the phone calls with all the guys.
Oh my God.
You never know when it's going to be valuable, He said deliberately getting pregnant is wrong. Writing letters to me about how you were going to get an abortion. You promised me. You said, I'll take pills. You don't have to worry. If I ever get pregnant, I swear on my life I'll get an abortion. How can you lie to me like that? He's screaming this the whole time. Getting pregnant, deliberately lying to me about abortions. That's who you are, and that's what you do, and that's the name of that tune.
Oh,
That's one thing you knew I was terrified of. Anybody was getting pregnant, and you did it deliberately. Why? Not because you wanted to be with me. It has something to do with some crazy shit that you want Robert Blake's baby, and that's all on you, baby, and you have to live with that. You schemed this whole thing. So she tells Christian Brando he's the father. And then, the DNA test confirms it's Blake's baby, and then he sees a picture, and of course, it looks like a little rascal.
Yeah. Got dirt all over its face.
And then I think he goes to see it, and the minute he holds the kid, it's
he's like he melts.
yeah, it's over. It's over.
69-year-old dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he would have been like 67 or something, but he was just kind of like, this is kind of another chance. But I don't want anything to do with this woman, but I want everything to do with this baby, and that's gonna lead to some hard shit. And we're gonna take a little break and come right back. And we're back.
Hello.
Now, Bonnie Lee Bakley.
She's got a nice shape to her.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, she must, John.
I suppose. Yeah, Christian Brando, and
Well, don't take his word for it.
she's. I mean, apparently enough of a looker. See one photo over here. She looks okay.
Jesus Christ.
But so There's one guy, Solari, that was living with Blake Freeman. He was one of these guys that got out of sing and then was an actor.
Okay.
Did real time, New York guy. And he was talking about when Blake met Bakley. And he goes, Madame. He goes, he did it to her 3 times in the back of the van. Bonnie set him up. He was lonely. And men think they don't think normal. So
He did in the back of the van? That was the car he was driving?
who fucking knows with this idiot? It's some kind of car. I just heard they did it in a car. I didn't hear he gave it to her 3 times. I think Solari's put a little zhuzh on it, maybe.
Yeah, he thinks with his, Yeah.
She was spunking everywhere. It was a great big van, too. So, basically, this guy says that some college, one of Bonnie Lee's clients was a college student from Taiwan, and he had paid her thousands of dollars over a period of time. And he took one time she took her sister and her daughter to visit with him in Irvine. And so the daughter was 13, so it was kind of like, what's she doing there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of like
Maybe they went to Disney.
So this also puts Robert in this thing with, is my daughter Rosie now going to grow up to be a hooker?
Right.
So he gets really, protective, and he doesn't know what to do with it, and he tries a few things. One thing he does is get a private investigator.
Okay.
Right? This is while she's still pregnant, and then he finds out like all the shit. Oh, like every crime she's done, like all across the country.
Oh shit!
And Blake was like, "What the fuck?" And then he goes like, "All right." He's like, "We're gonna get her to go to a doctor." He's like, "Or if not, we're gonna whack her."
He's saying this while she was pregnant.
Saying this while she's pregnant.
Okay.
To the private investigator.
To the private investigator, and the PI is like, "No,
Hey, guy, I'm
Who do you
a
think-
private investigator.
yeah, this thing that like do people like do murderers think that everybody murders?"
Probably.
Yeah. It's like racists think everybody's racist.
Yeah.
I think so. Like, well,
You know
what we got to do, right?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I know it's not polite, but
that thing.
the thing that we all do that we don't like to talk about. Little disappearance and so yeah, he also thinks like the whole family is like a Jerry Springer cartoon. You know what I mean? The Bakleys.
A Jerry Springer cartoon.
yeah.
It's like a Scooby mystery. But
That's great.
And so he's showing this Solari guy all the shit, all the naked pictures, all the stuff he's got, and so this guy's talking about how much he hates her, and it's there's like a couple other guys that are close to him, and one is his bodyguard, right? His name is Earl Caldwell, and he's also known as Moose.
Nice. Good name.
yeah.
Yeah. And so he's around a lot.
Moose.
Yeah.
Yeah, you imagine. Probably should
And
be.
basically what's going down is that Blake is like, you can move into my house, but you got to stay out in the the guest house.
Okay.
With and he's also doing some sketchy shit too, where he's got like one of his assistants like posing like she's a full-time nanny. And
Okay.
he gets the baby, and he gets her to take it away and give it to his daughter. Right? His daughter wants to have a baby. He's got a daughter named Alina. And she at this time can't have kids. So then the fucking assistant goes like, am I part of a kidnapping?
Yeah, that thing that we all do.
Yeah. Look, she was going to do it.
And Bonnie's just like, well, okay. Like, as long as I can still hang around, like, she doesn't give a fuck where the baby goes. You know what I mean? But she's also like buying that, like, oh no, we're gonna get married. You're gonna have a full-time nanny. We're gonna go house shopping. Like, he's telling her this. Like, we're gonna,
Okay, so he's dragging her down the little path.
Yeah, and then he's like, well, get married. He's like, you gotta sign this prenup. And the prenup is like, You can't do any United Singles Agency business on the premises,
Okay.
which is her company name for whatever that is. And
USA.
yeah, nice. And he's like, anything goes wrong, custody reverts to me fully. You never get any of my money at all. And the lawyers for Bonnie are going, what are you getting? And she's like, him.
Yeah.
Just him. And they're like, okay, like, don't sign this. And she's like, no. Let's do it. And so, they get married, and she's like, she's living in this house. Earl has to drive her everywhere. She's basically like under house arrest.
Yeah.
The baby's with his fucking daughter, right? He never hangs out with her.
Oh, weird.
Blake never doesn't talk to her.
Not even in the van?
Well.
And so they have a lot of fights.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff that happens where like she's telling her sister, I think he's got my phone tapped. She's telling her sister everything on the phone, too.
Meanwhile, she's tapping. She's recording every phone call she has.
Sure.
Yeah.
But she's like, do you hear clicking and shit? And he probably was, because it seems like she was going to have something where she just went to the daughter and was like, give me my fucking baby back. Right. And, I think he heard that and was like, okay, well, shit. I do not want my baby with this woman. And they had some fights where, like, she was like, and he's got a lot of guns. He's got a lot of antique guns. And firing range regular. He has a concealed carry license.
In L.A.
Yeah.
Has there been any moments where, like, people have attacked him? Is he
Childhood.
Yeah.
I think it's tough guy shit.
Yeah.
I think it's tough guy shit.
Yeah. No, I would. Yeah, but the bodyguard, like, that's not a very tough guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably like an ex-stuntman kind of thing where it's like, hang out with me and I give you some money.
Yeah.
Very much like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That's why the book's dedicated to him.
Yeah. They spent a lot of time together.
That's crazy.
A lot of time. We'll get more into that later. So basically, like, her thing is just going to be like, I'm going to go to the house and just be like, give me my baby, or I'm calling the fucking cops.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he's like, he's always got a thing where he's able to kind of manipulate her, like being like, no, let's go do this. And then gives her a taste of being Robert Blake's wife, then takes it away. And then, like, until she complains again.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, no, we'll go on a honeymoon. And she was saying, like, one time there was like an argument and she saw that he had a sleeping bag laid out inside the house, which is what his murderer character does in the movie Judgment Day.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Yeah, he puts a body in a sleeping bag. So they have some crazy fight, and then she looks out and she sees him laying out in a sleeping bag.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit. And he's like, and he's about to get the cockatoo.
Yeah.
That's the name of that too.
That's
yeah. So, then she's talking to her sister, and her sister's going like, she's like, yeah, you got to do this shit. And so then she's telling Blake, she's like, I'm getting the fucking baby. Like, this is bullshit. Like, she also is clearly saying, like, without the baby, she has no leverage.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. It makes sense.
And so she's like, he's like, all right, here's what we're doing. We're gonna go on a honeymoon, right? And he's like, we're gonna go, to fucking Arizona or something. Like, and she's like, we're gonna go through fucking like Nevada, go to some fishing places or something,
Okay.
and like some camping or whatever, and then like also like to some casinos. And her sister's like, what the fuck kind of honeymoon is that? And they're like, oh, and Earl's coming, the moose.
Oh, fun.
Oh, okay.
Bodyguard.
Yeah.
And Marjorie's kind of going like, dude, I don't know if you should go on that. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, why don't you fucking come with me then? And so then it's the two of them are going to go. And then at the last minute, Marjorie backs out, like after flying there to go. And she's like, "No, man, this is fucking bad news. This is bad fucking news." And she's like, "You need to get out of this. Like, don't go on this fucking trip."
Right.
Okay. And so, but she's like, "Fuck it, man." You know, she lives a fucking party lifestyle.
Yeah, YOLO.
But she also is saying like, she has said stuff like, I mean, seriously, she said stuff like, if anything happens to me, it's him.
Yeah.
Like,
It's pretty obvious at this point.
she's like, if anything happens to me, it's
The
definitely
sleeping bag thing.
Yeah, believe me, you're gonna get a lot more of that. And I think she said something to the effect one time to her sister of like, well, I will be famous.
Yeah.
If anything happens to me.
Jesus.
Oh boy.
And that says a fucking lot, man. I mean, it's moth to a flame shit at that point.
Yeah.
You know?
You're courting death.
Yeah, a real devil's bargain, if you will.
So they go on this wonderful honeymoon, of course.
Yeah, it's probably a real grand time. I don't know, but yeah, who knows? Maybe they had a really good time until the terrible part.
Well, there's a point where she spent some time with Earl on the slots, and she's like, he's all right, blah, blah, blah. And they're going places. They're doing some fishing and stuff, and they're on some, like, little river or whatever in, like, the middle of fucking nowhere. And he's like, trying to fool around, you know what I mean? And she's like, no, Earl. And he's like, no, I sent him up there to go fishing.
I just sent him up there.
Yeah. I sent him up. I sent him on ahead to go fishing or something. And then he's like, I want to do this thing. He's like, I got this fantasy.
Oh God.
And he's like, I want you to take a shot of tequila. He's like, and then I want you to kiss me, and then go down on me. Right?
Okay.
And she's like, well, I don't really like tequila, She's like, I'll do rum.
Okay.
And so then he's like, all right. And so she takes the shot and then, kisses him, and then she's fucking blowing him. And then she hears a bunch of fucking twigs cracking and shit, and she sees fucking Earl tumble out of the bushes, and he's fucking barfing everywhere.
Oh my God.
And he's got a gun in his hand.
He's barfing everywhere.
He's barfing everywhere, and he's got a gun in his hand.
That's a hell of an entrance.
And Blake runs right over to him. He's still got like a fucking hard dick from getting. And he runs over to him. And she hears him say, "Don't worry about it, buddy. I'll get somebody else to take care of it."
Oh my God.
Hears him say that.
And still goes through the rest of the honeymoon.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't shit his pants, it's a real tell.
And
my God.
So there's a thing, yeah. And then
Shit.
No.
I can't do it.
Not again.
this guy's got your friend with a boner comes over to you and he's like, don't worry about it, buddy. I'll get somebody else to
Clean up this puke.
I was supposed to blow him too.
And Marjorie, she tells Marjorie this, and Marjorie's going, dude, what the fuck? And she goes, Bonnie thought everything was a sex thing. Like, maybe part of the thing is my friend with a gun watches and barfs while I get head.
I mean, those rascals.
These weird cucks, man. You never know.
These Hollywood types are super weird, man.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Bodyguard's always puking.
So there's a thing, then we're like...
Blake climaxes because of it.
Yeah.
So there's another thing where, like, he was driving around one time, and they're supposed to be looking for houses, and they're fighting, and, like, he stops at these places that are, like, in the middle of nowhere.
What do you think about this place?
And she's going, what's he looking at? There's no house. And then he's going, no, there's nowhere to do it. Or, he's actively talking about killing her in front of her.
And she's probably thinking it's sex.
And he's done stuff, too, like, before any of this took off. When she just came to the house for the first time, he, like, set up somebody to look like LAPD. They're actors, of course. And it was like, hey, you're violating your parole, which she was. She wasn't supposed to leave the state. And she's at the pool at Robert Blake's house. She's like, how did the cops get in here? how do they know I'm here?
No.
So she's like, Blake. She calls him Blake. Like It's like, Blake, they know I'm breaking my parole. Like, lady, come on. Jesus. He told him. Duh. You know?
He told that actor.
Yeah. Excuse me, lady, you're breaking line.
Then she goes, she says to the guy, she's like, my husband, Robert Blake, and he goes, Beretta? Big fan. He goes, I'll tell you what, I don't want to start any trouble. He goes, why don't you just go back and get it all sorted out?
Go back home.
Go back home. So he's just doing shit like that at first. You know what I mean? Just get her fucking out of the picture, But I guess what I don't really understand is if it's really just about getting the baby, there had to be a way to get this woman on some kind of crime. She must have 1 million outstanding warrants or something
interstate hooking.
I guess not.
Right,
I guess the private investigator, didn't find enough, or there wasn't enough.
Or with the amount of money he had to pay actors to be fake cops, he could have got a lawyer to be like, look, this lady she cheats people out of money. This is all some bullshit. She's not trustworthy. She's not fit to be the mother.
Yeah. So speaking of that,
okay.
Bakley's little brother Joey talked to Blake one time.
Hey, Rabbit.
And and he won't give Bonnie a dime while she lives there, like spending money. So eventually she goes like, I gotta do fucking USA shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what she would do is she would do it all night while he was asleep, and then sleep until 12, and he's long fucking gone. He's got to work out. But what Joey said was, oh yeah, one time he offered me like 10 grand to go kill some guy in Mexico.
Oh.
Yeah. And like threw 500 down right on the spot.
Roberto Blake.
And said if you agree to do it, gave him a gun and a bag. Said if you agree to do it, I'll give you 5 up front, 5 after.
His brother?
Her brother.
Her brother. Oh.
Yeah. And then he's like, and she goes, and she's like, yeah, he gave me like $1,000. Like, one time he gave me 500 another. And she goes, she started laughing. She's like, that's more than he ever gave me. Yeah. And
who does Robert Blake need? So like, what is that? Robert Blake setting him up to leave? So
no, that was probably him really trying to kill a guy. That was some fake investor that took him and a bunch of friends' money and then retired to Mexico.
It wasn't just an IMDb
so
reviewer.
he found out where the guy lived, and then he was like, hey, I want this guy killed. Oh my God. So honestly, who knows how many people Robert Blake actually killed?
Or paid to have.
Yeah. Same thing, And that starts a long chain of people that would be approached by Robert Blake to kill somebody.
Do you puke?
Listen, couldn't possibly his cock have got shot?
Oh, yeah, if he was going to blow the back of her head off or something like that. Maybe that's part of the sex
Part
thing.
of the kink.
Yeah.
Well,
I wonder if he's like, if he was really like, once I blow.
Yeah.
Then you do it.
Yeah.
Then you do it.
But wait until
You'll know when I come.
You'll know.
The bird will tell you.
Yeah. That's the name of that tune.
Oh!
Jesus Christ. Like what? Like that's a big ask.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a big ask.
Hell, it's a big ask to get someone to drive across LA, much less
I want
murder
you to
someone.
kill this woman, but all while she's blowing me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what made him puke, just the sex, the oral sex.
Yeah, maybe he saw Robert's dick.
And he's like, oh.
He's like, oh, rum. Ugh.
Oh, I just saw Beretta's dick. I'm going to yak.
Yeah, put the gun in his mouth, but he put it
The moose yak.
So, what ended up happening is, shortly after the honeymoon, May the 4th, he goes to Vitello's. Familiar?
Yeah, it's a restaurant.
Studio City?
Yeah.
His favorite restaurant. They have fusilli a la Robert Blake on the menu.
Oh.
He's a regular. He goes in there with Bonnie the night before. She'd been talking to Marjorie like all night long for hours. And yeah, she was like really like, fucking feel like he's gonna kill me. Goes to dinner with him the next day. No problem.
Jesus.
And the owner is like, sees fucking Robert is like, slapping his back. Doesn't introduce her to Bonnie.
Yeah. This is.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Robert, I can't kill anybody for you. Hey, all right.
It's just one of these doors. They tell him right away, like, your pasta is gonna be out soon. Like, he doesn't need to order. It's one of those kinds of things, She has some kind of ragu, whatever. I ate there last night. I had a delicious pork chop.
Hey, lovely.
Is that true?
Pork Chop Hill.
Yeah, it was actually incredible.
Is the Blake on the menu still?
No.
Probably for the best.
Probably for the best, but it was for quite some time.
Ah, yeah.
But this is May of 2001, right? And so he doesn't park in the valet, which he usually does, according to a lot of people. And it's not too full. And he parks on Crest Street, which is like around the corner, kind of back behind. Of course, I went down there. And there's like one of those construction dumpsters out front. And so he parks like next to that under a burnt out street light.
Okay.
And they walk block and a half there, eat, come back. He's packing a Smith & Wesson and goes to the car. And he's like, oh, shit, I forgot my gun. Gonna go back and get it. Just wait here. And so...
That's right, he's always carrying, so it could be used to clean his teeth or something.
I don't think he was always carrying. What he would say later is that she had been being stalked and so many people wanted to kill her because of all of her crimes that he was...
mainly me.
It's just like everybody's trying to kill her. Look.
Yeah.
It's not just me.
It's a free-for-all.
Yeah. I just got there first.
So... he, nobody in Vitello's sees hit a gun. Nobody sees him come back and get a gun. The only time that I remember him coming back is when he came back after she was shot.
Yeah.
There's a guy that is just sitting at home. And he gets a knock on his door, recognizes it's fucking Robert Blake.
I know you from something, right?
Honey, Beretta's here, and there's a man puking behind him.
His name is Sean Stanek, and Blake is shaking, crying, and vomiting, and screaming. She's hurt. I need help. Dear God, please someone help me. He said we got mugged or something. She's beat up, but there wasn't light. You know what I mean? So you couldn't see that. He goes out to the car, finds her hardly breathing, Stanek, and then Blake says, I'm going back to Vitello's and to find a doctor, see if there's a doctor in the house.
Okay.
Which,
Yeah, here you go. Yeah.
And so Stanek is on the phone with the 911 operator, and he actually says, do you know the actor Robert Blake? He's here, and his wife is apparently hurt. And then they're like, okay, well, can you do anything about the bleeding? And she's still barely breathing. She's got, and then he sees that there's a bullet hole in her right cheek and right shoulder.
Oof.
And she, she's fucking gone. But the window's rolled down, which kind of like implies that she could have the window down, or she could have recognized whoever came up to the car.
Right.
So that was a 38 special that he had on him. And so then the owner remembers him coming back and just came back once, like I said, after the shooting. And they never found a gun at the table. It was bust, right away. And the owner said that Blake had said that she had been hurt, had fallen, and then ultimately said that she had been shot. He was supposed to be heard vomiting in the restaurant before this, but friends said that was normal. It's how he keeps his weight down after having a big meal.
And,
Good.
he wants to be light for those 6 a.m. workouts.
Yeah.
He has a has a couple of glasses of club soda.
Well, he's afterwards
to help him vomit. That's supposed to be a thing. And so he starts pounding more water there too. I think he had a bunch of more water, more vomiting at Stanik's house. Everybody's throwing up in this fucking thing.
You know.
Wait till we get to the meth.
Hollywood.
And fucking Jesus Christ. And another patron said earlier in the bathroom they saw him pulling his hair and talking to himself and vomiting.
Oh my God.
And Blake starts saying to Stanik, "What's going on? Is she dead? Is she dead?" He gives over. He gives over the Smith & Wesson to the cops. Not the murder weapon. I think it was a 9mm. It was actually a Walther PPK.
Oh, James Bond.
Yeah.
So of course he owned that one.
It was found in a nearby trash bin. It was freshly oiled, so there was no fingerprints. The serial number on the pistol was partially filed off, and also I think it's like so old it would be impossible to track. And so she was pronounced dead at St. Joseph's in Burbank, California. Blake did refuse a polygraph, said he had dreams of killing her, and he thought it might affect the results.
Oh my
God. He stayed the night in the hospital because of high blood pressure.
Yeah, and all the puke on him.
But he had no blood splatter on his clothing, right? And I think he had residue on him, but just by virtue of having a gun, you would have residue on you.
Okay.
Also, like the cops later, in another amazing fuck up, put like his clothes in a box and not a bag in the trunk again of a police vehicle that has guns in it.
Right.
I mean, fucking Keystone shit.
You know, they're not the best and brightest, you know? They're just some guys.
I mean, they could be actors.
They could be actors, yeah, for all we know. I mean, they're probably, some of them want to be actors.
Or
So.
maybe they are.
But there was, so this is the thing, is that basically the mystery becomes, did he do it himself? Did he have somebody else do it? My gut is somebody else because of the residue and the blood splatter. But they also said whoever shot her was like 1 to 2 feet away, and the blood splatter only would have been about 8 inches out. So it could have not got on him at all.
Right.
And also, this cop just showed up at his house and said, like, "Can I have your clothes that you were wearing?"
Yeah.
He's already been home. Like,
Yeah.
he could have pulled out a fucking clown outfit
Yeah.
and been like, "Here's what I was wearing, dipshit." And the guy's like, "Oh, cool, I'll put it underneath my spare tire."
Yeah.
And my shotgun.
Yeah. Oh, the starts pumping all over the fucking thing.
Clothes are coming out. I better weigh him down with this gun.
Yeah.
Can't fit the clown shoes in here.
So, immediately, LAPD is like, "Holy fuck, we got another celebrity thing." Marjorie finds out from reporters showing up at her house that her sister's dead.
Oh, yikes.
Fucking nightmare. And right away, they're like, who would want her dead? And she's like, Robert Blake.
For one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll start with him. Probably
I mean,
end with him.
there's some other things that, you know, we're going to get into here, but, you know, there's easily the most shit that you're going to hear that come back about it being Robert Blake, you know? And the way he talks about it and everything, and also just the way he handles himself in his career before is very, very interesting to me now, because it's he just seems like such a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know? But let's stay with this for a minute. Immediately the detective is Ron Ito.
Relative of
I don't know.
Judge Lance?
I tried to find out. I couldn't find anything.
Well, it's a Hollywood continuity thing, you know.
Yeah.
There has to be an Ito in every
It's an Easter egg.
Yeah.
That's right.
Maybe after the trial he got busted down. That's it, Ito.
You're down to detect. Give me your robes. Here's a badge.
Yeah, that's it.
And a gun.
But yeah, sorry, I just want to get back to the scene of the crime. So Stanik also is like weirded out, like wow, like, and also like he doesn't come over to the car while Stanik's in the car taking care of this woman that is his wife. And they said he spent his time like alternatively crying throwing up, sitting on the curb with his head in his hands. But Stanek and the people at the police station were like, yeah, he was sobbing and crying, but no actual tears.
Right, yeah, because that's what he was famous
He's
for.
an actor, yeah.
Or that's how he got roles, was fake crying, right?
Yeah, but he didn't cry here. Oh. No tears.
Well, you know, he's probably like hadn't practiced in a while.
Yeah, that's right. He was rusty.
Yeah. Plus with, you know, the advances in Hollywood technology, they give him the eye drops and stuff.
So what's going to happen here now is we're going to start an investigation.
Oh.
Right? Mm-hmm. He immediately takes like top Hollywood lawyer. Yeah. Right? And he's not like not doing any questions. But detectives immediately are like, he goes from being like, oh, my poor wife, to being like, everyone wanted to kill her. He's like shit talking her like crazy.
Yeah.
Stanek is like, you should search my house because I don't want him leaving any evidence in there.
Right.
And he thinks his behavior is weird. But then there were some other people at the restaurant, later, like that would end up testifying in the trial, being like, nah, he wasn't being that weird. Sometimes he doesn't park in the valet. Right. So but there's a lot of people saying it's weird, a lot of people saying like after he was in the bathroom throwing up and stuff like he looked all white, but also, it could just be from yakking up silly.
Yeah, they'll do it. He loves this dish.
Yeah. Now it's a la Blake.
Oh, God.
But yeah, they're just super alarmed again. LAPD, bad rap since OJ. Yep. And they're like, let's get fucking all over this thing. And, Blake's lawyer immediately is like saying, a lot of people want her dead. Here's all this shit. They do have to start looking into the Christian Brando thing because, when she told him this baby is named Christian Brando, he's so upset when he finds out it's Blake's because he was the one that was excited about it. Blake was the one that was furious.
Right.
And he's like, you're fucking with Blake. He's like, you're fucking with me. He's like, you end up with a fucking bullet in the head. All right. And so I'm like, okay, we got to look here. This guy has actually killed somebody.
I would know.
Yeah.
I've actually killed somebody.
And he's like, not for me, but you're going to end up with a fucking bullet in the head. Jeez. And he's like, all right, I got some people over. I got to go. And I think at that point he kind of realizes like, I'm mad, but I sort of dodged a bullet with you.
Yeah.
Fuck. So Bonnie Lee Bakley has been killed. That might be a good place to stop.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about it.
Yeah, because then the stuntmen come in. We're gonna meet Snuffy, Duffy, Wiz.
What?
Yeah.
The trapeze artist.
Yeah.
Wait, is Buckwheat come back?
No, Buckwheat.
Who'd be a great character witness on the stand.
Yeah.
Just going to let that one. Not going to touch it.
So yeah, I'm going to get more into some of the Johnny Carson stuff. Some of the books from this Toxic Fame book that he's got. And then we're going to get into all the people that admit that Robert Blake approached them about killing his wife. There's going to be a whole lot of meth.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of meth.
Probably the best part.
And I want to kind of catch up in a couple of days so that we can do it and get the video out at the same time.
Okay,
that's cool.
Yeah.
So I think we'll call it there. I'm going to say goodnight. My name is John Fahey.
I'm Aaron Pita.
Remember soap.
Good night, everybody. See you next time.
Good night.
Scarpins Avenue.